My name's Emery Kuhlmeyer. I have worked at Voyager Lanes. I started in 1996, and today we're just going to show you the basic functions of a Brunswick A2 pin setter. These are some of the belts, various sizes we need to keep the machines operating. It runs a lot off of belts and pulleys. This is the bigger belt that runs a ball wheel. We'll show you that in a bit here. It's another big belt that runs the pin wheel. Now this is the part of the machine that the bowlers see. And I'll grab a flashlight so I can point here. See that black box right there? If I take the light off, you can see the flashing red light. That sends an indicator over to this reflector. So when the ball goes through, it breaks that laser that goes through there. There's a bit of a delay, and then this rake's going to come down. The machine resets. That rake is to sweep any pins or the ball that's on the deck. Then we'll do it again. Now this is second ball, so it'll sweep the pins back, and we'll look at the back of the machine in a little bit. The deck sets the pins there. Now watch the turret. As the pins drop in, the turret advances. This metal chute right there, that's the 5-pin. That's the last one to go into the turret. When that goes through, it triggers a mechanism. They'll all drop into the deck right here. And then you've got 10 pins ready for the next set. Usually you want to keep about 21 to 23 pins per machine. That way if somebody throws a strike right now, it's got these 10 pins to set right away. So you don't have to wait for it. So that's most of the functions on the front. We'll go to the back here. I'm going to take off this safety panel. I'll shut the machine off. I got to reach behind a little bit. There's belts and pulleys back there. You don't want to get your hand caught there. That comes off. Okay. Just don't reach your hand in the machine at all. Turn it back on. So down here we've got 2 wheels spinning. This big wheel right here, this plastic one, that's the pin wheel. That picks the pins up, brings it up to the turn pan here. This turn pan's function is to turn the machine, or it turns the pins around so that the pins go bottom first up the conveyor and then into the turret, which we watched the pins drop into earlier. And then there's another big wheel right here. That's the ball wheel. And that lifts the ball up right through here. If you come over here, you can see the lift rods. The ball comes up through here, runs down these rails. And if you come over here, you'll see this accelerator belt. That's a 6-foot belt. That's what throws the ball back to you. Then the ball travels underneath the subway in between the lanes. This is the ball return. Everybody's seeing its basic functions from the outside, but we'll take the cover off today and show you the internal mechanisms of it. There is an electric motor way down there, and that runs this belt, which runs these pulleys, and those pulleys run these wheels. So your ball comes back from the machine. I'll grab a ball here and show you how it comes up. The machine has a big 6-foot belt that sends the ball back. I'll show you that later when we get back to the machine. And then momentum brings the ball all the way up. It goes up just like that. There's 2 wheels in here. One is spinning one way, the other one the other way. So when the ball gets right about here, you'll see it switch rotation. Yeah, go to view from there. Every so often, these rubber straps here wear out. If you look really close here, you can see some flat spots there. It's starting to wear. It's still good. It's still working fine, but every so many years, you got to take these out and replace those rubber straps. So that's the basic functions of the ball lift. Right here, that's a curtain. That's a big steel plate. That's what stops your bowling ball. After your ball goes through the pins, that's what it hits, and it triggers that up, and that triggers the machine to reset as well. And now we'll get our pins to come in. That board down there, it's a shaking board. We call it a shaker board. That shakes all the pins back to the machine. If you come over here, you can see them going up. Sometimes they go head first, sometimes they go bottom first. This turn pan turns them so that they always go bottom first. A lot of times when the machine stops and the bowlers holler there's an issue, when we have to come back, there will be a pin kind of caught in here. And as the pins get older and beat up, they're much more likely to get caught. It's not a perfect situation. You're gonna get some issues here and there. By keeping the machines well maintained, you can reduce the amount of lane calls you have to do throughout the night, but you're always gonna have some issues. And this is an aftermarket invention. It's the spinning wheel that helps get the ball to come up. A lot of times the ball will just sit and spin down there, but then this comes and pushes it through. I'll show you a machine. If we go down a couple, watch out for the panel here. This is the original arm when the machine was designed. And that helps, but it's not as good as that spinning arm because that spinning arm pushes it. This will just kind of grab it a little bit when the ball's spinning. So over the years, mechanics have come up with their little additions on the machines, and they patent it and sell it to Brunswick and make some decent money on that. I've done my own thing here with the shoelaces. These you can see right in here, this one's tearing. Now in order to replace those rubber covers, you have to pull this entire assembly off the shaft right here. Then you have to get an air compressor and put those rubber covers on, then put it back in. You're gonna get a couple $100 worth of labor, a couple $100 worth of parts. Or if you're on your last year of operating, as we were this year, you take a $2 shoelace and you wrap it and it works just fine. You can use plastic zip ties, they break. A rubber hose clamp would be strong enough, but that can put small scratches in people's balls, so I don't do that. So I use shoelaces. And they work for 2 years. If you look behind you here, all those little bins, all of those little bins hold parts that are necessary for these machines to operate. You've got a various sizes of nuts, bolts, roller pins, bushings, bearings. I've got some of the bigger parts over here, up on the wall here. It's a whole lot of parts. I'll show you the scissor mechanism. This is a spare scissor. This is what grabs and lifts the pin. After you throw your first ball and some of the pins are still standing, this operates like this. It opens and the pin's right here, and then when it gets close it closes and grabs the pin, lifts up the pin, and then the rake sweeps the pins and the ball that's underneath, and then it sets it down and opens up. There's 10 of these on each machine, 16 machines, so it's 160 of them. So every once in a while they usually break right here. A lot of these are like 50 years old. Our machines here were brought in used in '78 when the place was built, so they're definitely over 50 years old. There's two parts to the deck. I don't know if you noticed, but the one part shifts. That's what allows the pins to go through the hole that's in the metal plate on the bottom there. As the deck goes down, when it gets near the bottom, it shifts, and then the pins come through. Then they drop in. Yep. Now, if we get down low here, you'll see the scissors. You can see the black pads there. They'll grab the pin. Now, there they close, lifts it up, back down, then it'll release. You call this the deck chute or the deck bucket. You can see this one's well worn. It's got a hole in it. As long as it functions properly, it's fine. After a while, they get cracked and fall apart, and you got to replace them. If you look down there where the pin goes, you can see this roller. That's what the pin sits on, and then there's two deck fingers. So after the deck goes down, this upper deck shifts back, and then the pin goes backwards and into a big hole. So I can reset it and stop it when the deck's down. So I want to step off the lane. So now you see how that roller is way over here? That's because this upper part shifted back. And now there's a spot for the pin to get set. You can see 2 fingers down there that guide it in. And that's what sets the pins. Sometimes you'll get a chunk of plastic that'll break off of a pin or something, and it'll get in where the deck slides, and then you end up with issues. There's a couple pieces right there. That's why it's important to keep them clean. Top of a pin, just chunks of plastic that break off. Usually you get 3 or 4 years out of a pin, then you got to buy new sets.
What's that? What round does that cost?
I believe it's around 150, 160 for a case, 10 to a case, so 15 or 16 bucks a pin, which doesn't sound like a lot until you have 16 lanes and 21 pins in each lane. So do the math, 320, 340 pins. Yep. It's an electrical box here. There's a bunch of relays in there, time delay module, motor contactor, motor relay, transformer. You usually don't have too many issues with that, but every once in a while, you know, a 40-year-old relay wears out, fries, and you have to replace it. But that's the basics without tearing into it and getting into the nitty-gritty. They started off with just a setter, and you'd have to have someone put the pins in the deck and then pull an arm and it puts it down. So you still had manual pin setters back here, real people. And then they just kept adding to it.
When this opened, they had pin setters?
Yeah, yeah. Yep, this is the machine that was installed in '78. Yep. But yeah, some of the older bowlers they're in their 80s now, they said they used to set up pins when they were kids, you know, before they had machines. Due to liability issues, I don't think the insurance companies would allow that anymore. There's a mechanism here. We call this the Y switch. And obviously, like during times of league, you have people bowling on lanes 1 and 2 at the same time. So if they throw at the same time, their balls can come, you know, there's balls coming from this way and there's balls coming from this way. They can hit here and then stop each other. So they designed a mechanism right here. When the ball comes up here, it pulls those. See how that mechanism went up? And now that's attached to a bar, and we'll go over, just go back a little bit. Oh, and that bar pushes this latch up, which stops this arm. So it stops this ball from coming. So it lets that ball go through, and then when the ball on 1 here comes down and hits this lever, it goes through, and that releases that arm right here. See that latch is down now? And then it releases that and the pin goes through. That's what keeps your balls from hitting together. That's the basics. There's a lot more than meets the eye. If you can get your camera down here, you'll see there's a whole frame down there. Looks like I got a bracket that's cracked right there. That's a rubber bracket. That's something I can replace. Being we're only operating for a couple more weeks, that'll probably make it. So I won't bother right now. So yeah, there's a lower frame that's attached to the boards underneath and the floor. Then the upper frame shakes and holds that shaker board. Every once in a while, some bearings will go out. The main shaft down there, you got to tear all that out. That's about a 4 or 5 hour job. There have been nights where something like that goes out at the end of league, and then I've been here till 4 or 5 a.m. fixing these machines. So literally until the sun comes up sometimes. Of course, there's rollers that run the pin wheel and the ball wheel. There's a whole lot more up in the machine, but we won't get into that today. This is the machine that cleans and oils the lanes. You do that every day. Right before league, we give all of our leagues fresh oil. So you've got some spray jets here. It's 4 spray jets. They spray cleaner onto the lane. When you use this, you lay it down. So this is on the bottom. And then you have a squeegee here. That takes the cleaner off the lane. There's a vacuum motor that pulls it up and brings it into a tank back here. It sits up like this just for transporting it around, but when it runs, you lay it flat here. There's a computer that programs your shot, how much oil you want to put down, where you want to put it. And right in here, you've got your cleaner tank and your oil tank. There's a pump that brings the cleaner out and everything. And this right here is your oil spray jet. Now this runs back and forth like an old school typewriter or printer, and it sprays oil on this roller. And that roller turns, and the roller touches this brush. So the oil goes from the roller to the brush, and the brush touches the lane. This pops out. Clean that every once in a while. You definitely don't want that to get clogged or anything. I clean this once a week. There's daily cleaning that you do with the squeegee and everything that I showed you before. Weekly cleaning, monthly cleaning. Annually, you should go through and make sure everything's working properly. Just like the pin setters, if you take care of it, it won't give you as much problems. But if you don't take care of it, bad things are going to happen. So that's the oiling part of the machine. Now we got, on this side we have a cleaner tank. After the machine sprays the cleaner and sucks it off the lane through the squeegee, it all gets sucked into this cleaner tank. You empty that after every time you oil. It's amazing how much dust and hair and crud you take off those lanes every day. You oil one morning, you oil the next morning, and they're just dirty, you know. And then this is the lino roller. That goes on a roller underneath, and that touches the lane. Anything the squeegee doesn't pick up, this takes care of. So then your lanes are nice and clean. And we still have old wood lanes here. That's becoming more and more rare. They come up with synthetic lanes. Synthetic lanes, in my opinion, are better. In many aspects, there is literally no maintenance on synthetic lanes, so they're cheaper in the long run. And if we look up close here, the wood lanes have finish over them, and over time that finish cracks. You see these black lines. There's a crack in the finish between the two boards. So your oil seeps into those cracks over time, and it turns the wood black. Generally, every so many years, you sand the lanes. We sanded them 3 years ago. And then every single summer, you take a floor buffer and you screen them. You rough up the finish, and then you pull new finish on them. And that seals up those cracks. So that maintains your lanes.